The Protege Program by SolarCalamity. Chapter 9. Discussion with Nedzu. Trigger warnings. Mentions of scars. Mention of anxiety. Shota Aizawa was tired. After a regular day of teaching his ever-shrinking class, he'd had to walk the grounds Nedzu had dedicated to the Protege Program. Okay, so not much extra work, but Shota was tired from patrol the night before, after which he'd only gotten 3 hours of sleep. Now, he was walking back to the regular section of campus with Nedzu on his shoulder, wanting to collapse onto the couch or in the teacher's lounge for half an hour before getting any of his grading done. "So, Shota-kun," Nedzu started cheerfully, "did you find anyone interesting today?" Shota rolled his eyes in irritation. It was extremely unlikely to find anyone noteworthy on the first day of the program, especially seeing as Shota wasn't actually teaching regular classes, and thereby had no real reason to speak to any of the students. Of course, he had met a somewhat interesting young boy, but the odds of that had been low. Why couldn't Nedzu have asked tomorrow, when Shota would be better rested? "It's the first day of a program I don't teach. How would I have found anyone worth mentioning to you among the veritable sea of energetic teenagers?" he griped. Nedzu just waited patiently, perhaps noting the way Shota hadn't actually said he hadn't found anyone noteworthy. Shota just sighed. "I only talked to one kid. He seemed normal, if a bit more anxious than the situation called for. He must have been in your second or third block since he was trying to find the art building first. Nothing seemed all that noteworthy about him, except..." Shota paused, because, really, how had the boy known who Shota was? "Except?" Nedzu prompted, a note of interest in his voice. "Except he knew who I was," Shota shook his head. "I'm certain that I introduced myself as Aizawa Shota, but when I left him with Nomuri, he said, 'Thank you for the help, Mr. Eraserhead, sir.'" "Interesting. Of course, you do have a fan base, small and quiet as it may be," Nedzu commented. "Did you catch his name?" Shota nodded, sighing again and wishing he hadn't run out of coffee an hour ago. He didn't have a fan base, as far as he knew, but if Nedzu said he did, then he did. Yeah, he said his name was Midoriya. Wild green hair, freckles, short and thin, and he was wearing primordials, the only shoe those with the pinky toe joint can wear, so he was either quirkless or a false negative. Nedzu cackled. "He's quirkless, and you are right. He's in my second block of class on Tuesdays. As a matter of fact, he caught my eye as well." Shota raised an inquisitive brow at the giddiness in Nedzu's voice. "How so?" Nedzu cackled again and sipped his tea. He was sitting on Shota's shoulder. Where on earth did he get fresh tea? He finished his assignment early, and then spent the rest of the time writing some sort of complex code I couldn't decipher. Shota found himself suitably impressed. Nedzu could figure out most codes within seconds of seeing them, so if he hadn't figured out the kids during the entirety of class... Additionally, Nedzu's grin sharpened into one that showed all of his teeth. He seemed like he had heard the inaudible beep of the activity log. What's more, the way he looked at me when he first walked in. He was analyzing me, studying me the same way I was studying him. It's so rare that I find someone with that analytical gleam in their eyes, but Midori Izuku... He's certainly interesting. He has a few interesting scars, too." Shota thought back to his interaction with the boy. Nedzu was right, he realized. The kid had a crooked scar over the bridge of his nose. Shota had only taken note of it because it had been familiar, somehow. Shota couldn't place where he'd seen a scar like that before, but he knew he had. "Interesting. I'll keep an eye on him then. See if I can pick up anything unusual. I'll ask the others to let me know anything odd he does, too." Nedzu's smile went back to being close-lipped, and Shota was grateful. He trusted the Chimera, but he couldn't help the sharp spike of fear he had felt when Nedzu showed his teeth. It was partially because he wasn't distinctly one species or another, so he was uncanny. Shota shook his head and hoped for everyone else's sake that Midori Izuku would end up as Nedzu's personal student. A bored Nedzu was almost as dangerous as a pissed-off Nedzu, after all.